What if you could get almost anyone to like you and say yes to you just by changing how you communicate? These simple psychology tricks work on everyone, from strangers to bosses to difficult people, and they'll transform how people respond to you. Dale Carnegie once said, "The only way to win an argument is to avoid it." Sounds weird, right? Here's why he said that. Carnegie's at a dinner party. A guy quotes what he thinks is from the Bible. There's a divine power that shapes our destiny. Carnegie knows it's actually from Shakespeare's Hamlet, so he interrupts and corrects him in front of everyone. The guy pushes back. No, it's from the Bible. Carnegie's friend Frank, a Shakespeare expert, is right there. Carnegie expects backup, but Frank says, "Actually, Dale, this gentleman is right." Later, Carnegie asks, "Frank, why'd you lie? You know it's Shakespeare." Frank smiles. "Yeah, it's from Hamlet, but why embarrass him at a nice party? What's the point? Let people keep their dignity." That's when Carnegie got it. You can't actually win an argument. Even if you're right, the other person just feels insulted. You win the argument, but you lose the relationship. Sometimes the smartest move, just don't argue at all. Here's a harsh truth. You can tell someone they're wrong, but they'll never admit it. Because when you say you're wrong, what they actually hear is, "I'm smarter than you." And now you've attacked their pride, their ego, their self-respect. At that point, you could hit them with the logic of Plato or the wisdom of Kant. Doesn't matter. They're not changing their mind. Because now it's not about facts. It's about dignity. So here's what actually works. Never start with, "Let me prove you're wrong." Instead, be subtle. Guide them. Make them think they came to the conclusion themselves. There's an old saying, teach people as if you're not teaching them. Want to know the fastest way to end an argument? Admit when you're wrong first. Seriously, when you admit your own mistakes, the other person suddenly feels safe to admit theirs too. Here's the thing, we tie our opinions to our self-worth. So when someone says you're wrong, we don't hear facts. We hear an attack, and we defend, always. But when people feel respected, they actually listen. Benjamin Franklin figured out a communication hack that changed everything for him. Stop talking like you're always right. Franklin realized he kept getting into arguments. Why? Words like definitely, without a doubt, certainly. They make people feel like you're forcing your opinion down their throat. So he made a simple rule. Replace absolute statements with humble ones. Instead of saying you're definitely wrong, say, "I could be mistaken, but here's what I think." Or say, "It seems to me that things might be different." Or simply start with, "I think we might be looking at this differently." When someone said something he knew was wrong, Franklin forced himself not to immediately correct them. Instead, he'd say something like, "You might be right in some cases, but it seems to me things are slightly different." What happened? People actually listened to him. Conversations got calmer, more productive. And here's the crazy part. When Franklin was wrong, he felt less embarrassed. And when others were wrong, they admitted it more easily. Being humble doesn't make you weak. It makes you powerful. Because people don't resist humility. They resist arrogance. Imagine this. Your company just delivered a huge shipment of wood, but the inspector is rejecting half of it. Thousands of dollars on the line. Tension in the air. Everyone's ready to argue. What do? A company rep shows up at the factory. The purchasing agent and wood inspector are clearly annoyed, ready for a fight. They head to the truck. The inspector starts sorting, and he's being way too harsh, rejecting perfectly good wood because he doesn't really specialize in this type. Here's what the rep does. He doesn't argue, doesn't blame, doesn't say you're wrong. Instead, he stays calm and friendly, makes constructive observations, talks about improving future orders, and something amazing happens. The tension melts. The inspector starts looking closer. He realizes on his own that some of the rejected pieces are actually totally fine. The conversation keeps going, calm, collaborative. Then the inspector apologizes. He admits the mistake was on his end. He reinspects the entire shipment, accepts it all, full payment. When you stay friendly instead of confrontational, people drop their defenses. They see things clearly, and that's way more powerful than winning an argument. Dale Carnegie got caught breaking the law, twice, but the second time, he didn't get in trouble. Here's why. Carnegie's walking his dog in the park, no leash. A cop on horseback stops him and says, "You know it's illegal to have your dog loose in the park, right?" Carnegie tries to justify it. Yeah, but he's not hurting anyone. The cop's not having it. He says, "The law doesn't care about your opinion. I'll let it slide this time, but if I catch you again, you're going to court." A few days later, Carnegie does it again. Same cop, same park. But this time, Carnegie doesn't wait for the lecture. He immediately says, "I'm guilty. You warned me last week, and I didn't listen. I messed up." The cop's face completely changes. He smiles and says, a little dog like that won't hurt anyone. Just keep him away from the main path. No ticket, no court, just understanding." Carnegie learned something powerful that day. Admitting you're wrong doesn't make you weak. It makes you respected. And here's the real secret. People, no matter how much authority they have, appreciate being treated with respect and dignity. Even a cop with the power to take you to court will show you kindness when you show him respect first. A guy wanted to lower his rent. His landlord was known for being impossible. Every other tenant who tried failed. But this guy got exactly what he wanted. Here's how. Meet Mr. Straub. His rent's too high, but his landlord is stubborn and difficult. Other tenants tried everything. Angry letters, threats to move out, arguments. Nothing worked. So Straub writes a simple letter saying, "I love this apartment, but I can't afford the rent anymore. I'll have to leave when the lease is up." No threats, no demands, just honest. Days later, the landlord shows up at his door. Straub greets him with a genuine smile, tells him how much he loves the place, compliments the design, the craftsmanship, how well maintained everything is. He doesn't even mention the rent. The landlord's not used to this. Everyone else yells at him. So what does he do? He offers to lower the rent. On his own, Straub mentions what he can afford. The landlord agrees immediately. Then, before leaving, the landlord asks, "What kind of decorations would you like me to add to your apartment?" Straub got more than he asked for, not because he demanded it, but because he showed respect and made the landlord feel appreciated. Here's the truth. Hearts open with kindness, not pressure. The sun can make you take off your coat faster than the wind ever could. When you make people feel valued and treat them with genuine appreciation, they'll give you more than you ever asked for. And that's it. I hope you got some real value from this. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.